family. I don't know if I can move this. Yes, I can move this a little bit like this. All right. No, not good idea. All right. So this is my family. My wife on the top here. My dad was no longer with us anymore. My older daughter, who's in hospital, she's a med student, and she's working in a hospital with old people nowadays. It's very difficult for her because she sees people dying every day. And my two young kids. I studied in the States, in St. Louis University, where Engel invented orthodontics. I was there. It was 103 years ago, basically. The first bracket came out. And Dr. Charles Tweed was very influential in this part of America. And so I've been trained in the Tweed technique. This is my office. Paris today, maybe like all the cities, is very, very empty, about no cars. What's great, I don't know if you experienced that, but we can hear the birds. It smells good. There is silence. There are some really, really good things about the confinement, I think. And the few things we can enjoy, we have to do so. So my office is here. My office is empty as the Paris street, unfortunately. But this is the way to go. I'm every day attending a webinar like this one about many topics. And as I said, I'm trying to become stronger and more confident for my coming back in a few weeks from now. I hope in Paris we'll come back to our office in about 3 weeks, but not 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to be, again, a long time. I don't practice in Israel. I'm teaching there. Every 2 months, I give a lecture there about self-lightening brackets. Okay. So this is the Genius team. What is the Genius team? The Genius team is the team that co-invent the Genius bracket and concept. Like we can see here. There are 4 orthodontists and myself, Dr. Medina, who gave a lecture a few days ago, or in a few yes, and Dr. Catherine Lesvanes and Michel Assayag. Also Charlie Kubi and Wei family, and a bracket engineering, he was not a doctor, he's an engineer, Albert Risvela from United States, who worked very much on the diamond bracket a few years ago. And it was 5 years ago only the Genius bracket came out, the prototype, and the first lecture also was in Taiwan. So enough with me. I would like to start with the presentation. This is where all the Genius brackets are sold. So the big question is, what is your choice for class 2 correction in permanent dentition? If I ask the question, if you are really 200 attending this lecture, I'll probably have like 100 different answers, I'm sure. Why is that? It's because it's very challenging. There are so many appliances that are available, so many concepts and techniques. It really creates a confusion to make a choice. And the second reason is that in the scientific literature, also there's not, it's difficult to find a consensus about what to use in what case. There are some tendencies, some trends that I would like to share with you now. So what happens in the literature for class 2 correction? The topics are debated and sometimes consensus are found, but the consensus that are found, most of the time, it's not in the literature. It comes from clinical trials. That in the literature, they just explain to you what scientifically works and what scientifically cannot be proved to work. But most of the time, it's from clinical trials that people end up to choose some appliance. And the class 2 topics that are frequently debated are the following: the age of treatment, the concept or technique, you call it as you want, and then short and long-term effects. The treatment duration, should we use fixed or removable? If removable, should we ask the patient to wear them at night or night and evening or all the time except when eating? There's also a topic that is frequently debated is the design of the appliance. So it makes a lot. I will come back to this slide, sorry. Makes a lot of topics, and as I said, it's very difficult to make a choice from the literature and from everything. The class 2 correction consensus is the one. It was easy to say for everyone that we are trying to find a concept to correct a class 2 that will bring efficiency, that will enhance mandibular growth, and that is stable as far as correction, okay? This is a consensus. Maybe that sounds a little bit stupid saying so, but this is the only thing, really the only 3 things everybody will agree on. And there's somewhat a consensus after many debates about this. First of all, starting age should be around, right before or around puberty, and we'll see later what we call stage CS3 and CS4. Many of you are aware of what it is, but I will remind what it is, because today this is the most reliable way of assessing where a patient is, what stage the patient is compared to his growth spurt. So here it is. It comes from Bacchetti. It's not recent. It's quite old actually, and it shows that mandibular growth spurt will be between CS3 and CS4, and you can of course watch those vertebrae on your profile X-ray. It's very easy to determine what age the patient is, the growth age the patient is, and it's very good to start when the patient is at the CS3, so there's a lot of chance you may hit the growth spurt to correct your class 2. So the consensus is about the starting age. The concept is, most of the concept, they go towards position the mandible forward. The duration of a class 2 correction, and when I'm talking about class 2, I'm talking about real class 2, which would be between 5 to 7 millimeters, right? Okay, so it should last a year to a year and a half, and sometimes it can be shorter. But if it's shorter, it means that stabilization will be longer. Fixed or removable, there's no consensus, but there's a consensus about most important is that the appliance is in the mouth of the patient most of the time, which is about minimum time, 20 hours a day. And type of appliance is a big question. What are we going to choose, right? I will end up with the solution I've chosen for my office, and I will try to share it with you, but of course there are many things. So if we take this appliance, the Herbst appliance, which I used for a very long time, the Herbst appliance will meet all the criteria that were listed before. You can use it at before the growth spurt or at the growth spurt, but you can use it independently of all permanent teeth erupted, which is a good thing. It positions the mandible forward. It can be worn more than a year, and it's a fixed appliance. So this appliance fixed all the criteria. The reason I don't use it anymore, to be honest, I've been using it for 10 years and I had a wonderful result with it, because the appliance installation requires a very long and difficult appointment, a lot of sweat. It's not aesthetic, it's not comfortable. So what happens is that parents and patients are not happy with it. There are some countries, like for example United States, where and maybe Germany also, where the appliance is quite popular. So people are aware of this uncomfort and that the appliance is not aesthetic, so that will be okay. But for example, in France, it was very difficult for parents to accept this kind of appliance in the mouth of their children. Also, it's very fragile, and because it's very fragile, when the patient comes for an emergency, sometimes the emergency visit will last more than half an hour. So quite difficult, right? So after about 10 to 15 years of using the herbs appliance, I decided to quit. Now, if I look around me, and it's true that I would speak mainly for Europe, and I don't know how it is in in Asia, for example. I know that in the United States it's very close to what you use to Europe. These are sorry, these are the actual trends. Um, Actual trends. Many people still using a removable appliance like a bionator, an appliance that is worn at night and maybe a little bit in the evening that will position the needle forward. And also there are removable appliances that can be worn 22 hours a day, where you get, in my opinion, better results. These are, well, the Invisalign you can see on the upper right corner of your screen, the Invisalign mandibular advancement appliance becomes more and more popular, more and more popular, especially in the United States, and twin block appliance, because actually both of them, I mean the Invisalign mandibular advancements with the wings and the twin block works in the same principle. The difference is between the two is that one is made of plastic, the other one is made of acrylic. I'm talking about plastic correction. Actual trend with fixed appliance is using elastics, of course, and wait for the last phase of treatment to be with rectangular wire, so that patients can wear heavy elastics or forceps. And what I like personally is this last trend with fixed appliance at treatment start, using shorties. I'm going to speak about it right now, and also using heavy elastics with carrier motion, or what we call the genius sagittal first, which I'm going to explain also the detail in a few minutes. So this is what I like, and I want to share. I want to share with you that I like to work with fixed appliance and elastics, and I like to correct the class 2 at the beginning of treatment. So that this is why actually the presentation is called Sagittal first. So there are two ways of doing it, with very light elastics, I will show you, and very heavy elastics. Obviously you cannot use the same design of a fixed appliance with brackets or whatever if you use very light elastics or heavy elastics. Let's start first, please, with the very light elastics. As you can see here on this photograph, I'm using a very what we call shorties. We call them shorties because they are short range elastics. They go from 3 to 5 or upper 4s to lower 6 for the class 2. For the class 3, you just have to reverse. Actually, it's exactly the same principle. And as you can see here, you got a deep bite, a round wire. I'm going to speak about it, when to use it, what you can expect from those this kind of appliance. And I just want you just to look at the one detail. See, there's a rotation of the bicuspid. It is a mesiolingual rotation, and it's true that the elastics is going in the opposite direction of the correction of the rotation, but anyway, it will work because the strength of the wires will be heavier, if I may say, than the force of the elastics. So this was because she's done with her treatment now. Eleanor, when she was 11 years old, this is a class 2 division 2, which is very frequent in France. We have a lot of this in Europe. I'm not sure you have that much in Asia. I don't know who's listening, maybe, well, I'm sure you've seen some. And in those situations, you can see some class 2 division 2, of course, class 2 relationship, and very deep bite. What you cannot see, I want to tell you, because you cannot see because of the deep bite, here, there's the gum on the lower central right incisor is not at the same level as the lower left incisor. I will tell you from the beginning because you will see at the end, okay? There's a little bit of crowding in the lower arch. Our main concern is correct the class 2 and correct the deep bite, of course, okay? So let's see what we're going to do with shorties. So we start the shorties elastics, very light force. As you can see, it's only 2 ounces, okay? Short range from 3 to 5. But here, there is a mistake actually, because of the deep bite. I should have asked the patient to wear them from upper first premolar to lower 6 to open the bite, okay? So this was my mistake. It worked anyway, which is good news. But since I wanted to tell you my mistake. So from the very first wires, 014 Genius Thermal Ultra. I won't go into details with the wires and everything and the sequence of wire, because